Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Xbox Life, episode 428, Brun 2.0. I am Mark, aka Wingman 709, and with me this week is my good buddy Rob.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello.
And with us this week is also Brun 2.0, the new, the improved, the much better Brun 2.0, also known as Preston, or Drano 85, I think.
Hey guys, welcome back for a second week in a row like a champ. Brun 2.0.
Woohoo!
Yeah, Brun took all his money and ran.
He
So
did.
we went and got the improved Brun. So Brun
Yeah.
Or is
will
he covering E3
Yeah.
uh,
Virus free.
on
no
assignment?
Brun's working, and we may see him in the chat. I don't know, but he unfortunately couldn't be here today. But he did have a message for us, which I don't think I'm going to share. So just out of spite, if he wants to say something to the community, he needs to be here. All right, so we'll move into what have we been playing. So, Rob, I'm gonna throw it at you first.
Yeah, very little this week again. Got some Forza Horizon 3, an oldie but a goodie. I actually was thinking about how old is that game now? Is that almost 2 years old now? It's been quite a while, at least a year for sure, right?
Uh,
Yes? No?
I don't know. I can't keep track.
Forza Horizon 2, I think, is
Or
two
three?
years old. Or Forza Horizon 3, I think, is getting close to a year old, maybe 6 or 7 months,
That's
something
it?
like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it came out in like October, I think.
yeah,
I
October of
think we're due
last
for
year.
another one.
Oh, yeah, Forza will come out this year. Remember, they alternate.
Oh, the regular one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, September 27th, 2016. So not even close to a year, Rob.
Good game, though.
Oh, 2016, that's it?
Yeah, it
Wow.
just came out last year.
Huh. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Or
Did
it
you
seems that way.
get the
I
new
don't know.
DLC?
No,
The snow mountain. You don't
don't
want to
buy
drive
that
your
stuff.
Lambo in the snow?
No.
Yeah, didn't you have time? Didn't you have trouble reconciling the snow in Australia there, Rob, for a little
Yeah,
while?
that's absolutely correct. That makes no sense. Alpine Australia landscape.
Hey,
That's
we,
crazy talk.
we we had our Australian buddies on here, and they told us they do have mountains and they get snow.
Well, I believe they have mountains, and I believe they get snow cones.
Snow
But I
cones.
mean, the Alpine, like middle of Europe, look, I don't buy it.
Yeah, hey, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but so Forza Horizon 3, played some Roblox with my son, and I've been revisiting Kingdom New Lands. Man, that game is such a huge time sink. It is just crazy. And the thing is, so I've talked about this game in the past. It's kind of like a tower defense style game, but it's not top down. It's more like a side pixel art view. And the game is actually, at least for me, quite a bit of fun. But the thing is, I get to a point where I just get overrun and I can't recover, and then I start over, and then it takes me like another 2 hours to get to where I was. So it's a huge time sink, and now it's on phones, tablets, along with the Xbox and Steam, which has been out for a long time. But the game is just fun. It's just fun. Grab it if it gets on sale, or maybe it'll be a gold title sometime soon, so everybody else can enjoy it for free if they don't want to buy it. But that's about it for me. Just really those things.
All right,
Next.
Preston. I'm sorry. I think I goofed up. Hopefully, we're still recording because I think I missed a step, and I'm having problems tonight, folks. Everything needed to be updated. Brun's got us on like 1,800 applications just to put the show together,
Oh yeah.
and everything needed to be updated. And I've got this list of stuff to follow, and so now stuff's changed, and the directions aren't 100%. And I think I was supposed to launch something that I didn't, and now I did, and it doesn't look right. And oh my gosh, I don't, I'm gonna roll with
So
it.
is complaining about it part of the process too?
Yes, yes. Another
And
reason
Mark,
why
Well, that's
Brun has
not.
been fired.
and this is just my face, Mark. There's nothing wrong with the recording.
No,
Just how
you
I
guys
go.
look great. That's
um,
so. But all right,
well,
Preston, what did you play?
so a couple of games for me this week. First, Battlefield 1 with the DLC that dropped. If you're a premium pass holder, you got a few weeks early, I believe, a couple of weeks. And the new maps are a lot of fun. Been having fun running around with some buddies of mine doing that. I did get to rank 50. I think I'm level 54 now. So I put some time into that. It takes a little while for me to level up, but having a lot of fun with Battlefield. And then even unlocked a couple of new weapons, which they do this thing now where it's no longer, normally you just buy the weapons with the war bonds you earn as you rank up. The weapons that they put in the DLC this time, you have to perform certain tasks to unlock the weapons. And I'm not a big fan of that because it kind of forces you to play outside of your comfort zone, which I guess is maybe the intention. But for me anyway, it kind of has been a point of frustration. But beyond that, it's have had a lot of fun with it. And then Dishonored 2 is my second game that I've been
Nice.
playing, and having a lot of fun with that game. Once again, just continuously surprised by the mechanics. They continuously come up with new level designs, and still trying to complete the Ghost Run. I didn't progress a whole lot further than from where I was last week. I've been playing more Battlefield than anything, but still enjoying the heck out of that game. It's been a lot of fun for me, and I was even telling Rob, might even go back and do a second playthrough, which for me is a rarity to replay games anymore nowadays. So, but that's it for me. I've been racking up the gamer score with some achievements for sure.
Alrighty. Okay, so I played what I've been doing this week. I spent most of the week playing some Ghost Recon Wildlands. That game has now officially ticked me off beyond belief. The game so I got to go back on something I said last week where the game didn't have any glitches and it ran so smooth and everything was working. I don't know what they've done. I don't know if they released a day one patch and broke everything, or I should say a week one patch. But I've seen so many glitches and problems in this game, um, from just clipping where your legs go through rocks, which is interesting, falling through the environment. You call in a helicopter and it lands on your head and kills you, or they land it on the side of a mountain so it falls down the mountain and just blows up, or they drop it into the river. It's just unbelievable BS that you're calling in a resource and it kills you, or it blows itself up because they can't figure out how to drop a vehicle in this game in an area that it can be accessible. It's just so stupid. Um, the game's just gotten, I don't know. I just gotten so frustrated. I actually haven't even played it this weekend. I think the last day. I think I was playing it Friday night, and I just quit. I'm like, it's like rage quit. I'm like, I can't take this crap anymore. Um, so I don't know if I want to put any more into it. I really don't. So I did. I was gonna wait on Mass Effect, but due to Wildlands turning into such a unpolished turd, I decided to go ahead and start Mass Effect Andromeda and see how it goes. And I did hit the limit in the story. So right now, the game comes out Tuesday, Monday night, Tuesday morning at midnight Eastern time. And for those that have EA access, you can play the game now. You can play it early, but it's like a 10-hour trial. But they've locked the story, so you can't play 10 hours of the story. Um, and I believe you can play. Well, I should clarify that. I think you can play the story. You can be in the story mode for the 10 hours, but all you can really do is kind of explore, maybe do some side missions. There's a couple things that I can go back and do. I did do investigation. I need to go back to the Nexus or the Helix or something. I think it's the Nexus. I'm still trying to figure all these ship names and everything. But you go back to the main base, and I can go back and still do that. But in the story, I hit a spot where it's like your trial's expired. This is the end of the trial, but you can. It says that you can still explore the world, but you can't progress any further in the storyline than where you are. So they put a stopper on that for I don't know why. Especially if you bought the game and you're just playing it early because that's what they're giving you. That they're blocking you from getting any further. I think it's kind of stupid, but it is what it is. I get it for the trial purpose, but if they know you already bought the game and already had it installed, I think they should just that trial shouldn't be there. But
Yeah.
so then I went in and played. I tried to play the multiplayer and found out that the first match I got in, I got connected with some randoms. We played one wave, and then there was a host disconnect, so it puts me in another game. We did one wave, and there was a host disconnect. Put me in another game. Did three waves, and there was a host disconnect. I was like, this. I'm like, this is just not good. You know, this isn't even running. Then it put me in another one. I'm like, I'll try it again, and we actually
Hey,
completed all
while
the.
you played it, did you get any disconnects?
Yeah. Nothing really you can talk about. Only four of them, but the final time we actually did get to stay all together, and it didn't crash us out or disconnect anybody, and we did actually extract. And I totally forgot about that. I was, that's the way the Mass Effect. It's like you play so many waves, and you try to get that last wave, and then you get an extraction out. Um, but we did extract out, and so my first attempt where we stayed connected for the entire match, we actually did successfully complete the match. So I was like, hey, that's cool. Um, so I kind of I do like I loved Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. This seems to be identical to it. Um, in things that you're doing. So I'm really looking forward to playing a lot of that. Um, but I don't have a whole lot to say in the multiplayer, other than if you played Mass Effect 3, you kind of have an idea what it is. It is horde mode essentially, but with extracting at the end of it. And you only go to like 8 waves or something. I thought it was going to be more, and then all of a sudden, I think we were in wave 8, and then we extracted. So um, I don't know if it's going to be more than that in the full retail release, but I don't recall. But it was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Even with randoms, it'll be a lot better with people that you're talking with. So back to the story. Have any of you guys didn't play it then, right? You didn't talk about it.
No,
No.
I have it pre-ordered, but I decided that I was going to wait for the full release to touch it. So
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Turd Wildlands, I would have held out too, because that was my goal to wait till Monday night,
yeah,
because I didn't want to get into the position I was in now. But I figured I didn't start it until I figured by the time I started it, I'm like, well, I probably won't get the 10 hours in anyways, and if I hit that point, I can jump and play multiplayer. But um,
where
I'm
it
okay.
cut you off, was that a good point to be cut off at, or was it just like cliffhanger, or that was
It
that?
was just a random. I was kind of surprised because it was like in the middle of a mission.
Oh.
It's just like, yeah, you're done. I was like, wait a minute. I
See,
was
yeah.
like, I'm in the middle of it. I figured like
See it.
when I did one, like when I finished my first one, I was like, yeah, it's probably all it's gonna let me do, and it
Mhm.
kept going, and I was like, okay, I'll keep going, and I was doing some stuff on the Citadel or Citadel, the Nexus, Citadels in Mass Effect 1 through 3. So the Nexus, I was there doing some side stuff, and I was like, is this eating my time? Am I gonna get nailed here? Should I get out into space? And you do get on your ship, the Tempest, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
Um, and you do go to, you have the option to kind of get out there and do a little exploring. You say where you want to go, and I'm not going to say anything because I definitely don't want to have any kind of spoiler. So the only thing I'm going to say about it is I loved Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Absolutely loved the games. And my whole point of when I was first playing Andromeda was like, man, oh, this is so slow. This is so boring. Like, it's just extremely slow to start up. You spend a lot of time listening to dialogue, but I get it. It's a new game. It's a new, a whole new branching story, new characters. It has nothing to really do with the old game. So they got to set it up. They have to do that. But it was kind of, I think, a little bit kind of frustrating me because I was just like, oh man, let's just get to it. Um, and when you get and you'll get into some combat and stuff before your time expires or before you hit that block in the story. Um, and it won't matter to those waiting till Tuesday, but it's not really that bad. It's just it really starts off slow, but again, it's expected. I tried to think back of the original Mass Effect, and I'm like, well, I think Mass Effect was kind of that way too. You had to set up the story and what you were doing, but it seemed to me like I got to my first mission a lot quicker in Mass Effect than you do in Andromeda. Um, I mean, you get to one fairly soon, but I don't know. It just to me kind of felt a little lacking. But um, it's Mass Effect. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I am enjoying it. I mean, when it stopped me, I was kind of like, "What? Hey, no!" Which is what you want. You want to keep going, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
the fact that I was like, "Hey, wait a minute." I mean, I wasn't upset because I knew it was going to happen. I just wasn't expecting it right in the middle of a mission. Because like you go to unlock something and they're like, "Nah, you're done.
And
Come back later." Yeah. So I am looking forward to it. I will say that the game runs in HDR. It is an HDR game, but I was not impressed with the visuals. Um, I thought these. I didn't think this really looked any better than Mass Effect 3, to be honest. So my one thought was, how long have they been working on this game? Have they been working on it from the 360 era? Because and maybe it's just that it's more. I feel like the game's more cartoonish than I ever recall it being. Even like when you see the Tempest come in for the first time and they have this big grand dramatic entrance, and I'm like, it looks like a cartoon. I'm like, it wasn't impressive, and I'm like, I remember like, and now I can't even remember the name of the ship, the Normandy. Like the first time I saw the Normandy, I'm just like, whoa, this is awesome. This looks
yeah.
beautiful. And the first time I see the Tempest, I was like, why does it look like a cartoon? I'm like, so I was really taken back. Like, it just doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to be. I really thought this game was going to be, you know, pushing like the visuals and just everything was just going to be so amazing. And I'm just finding it to be like, doesn't look like what I thought it was going to be. And then I haven't read the stories, but I know people have been complaining something about the characters, and I'm not, I'm not sure what to think. So I didn't read any of that, and I don't know what all the complaints are. I've just seen the headlines. People are complaining about it. And what I thought when the very beginning of the game, like when you're going through the first part, it was weird because like what I thought was like you're seeing these people, and it's like they'll say something, and then they're just like, you know, you just see their head. They don't talk, and you're watching their eyes kind of move back and forth, and everything looks like weird. Like it doesn't look natural, but yet at the same time, I'm like, well, at least their eyes are moving and they're looking around. That's kind of cool, but it just looks weird. There's something about it. I can't put my finger on it. It's just like does it's almost like they ask a question, and it's like instead of him responding, he pauses and he's looking around, moving his eyes, and then he replies. So it's just like not. It's like there was a break, like an unnatural break, and then you get the weird eye movement, which like I don't know. It's just weird. So when everybody, I look forward to hearing what people think when they see it. It's right in the beginning of the game. You'll see it between your character and your father. Um, so let me know what you guys think of it. I mean, it happens other places, but that was like the most prominent one. I was just like, this is weird. So I'm just curious what other people think. But um,
That's been one of the biggest complaints that I've read about over the internet was facial animations just seem awkward. And then a lot of people complaining that it does, even though it is a triple A game, it doesn't necessarily come across as one in a whole bunch of different aspects, kind of like what you were describing with the cartoony. What is the ship called? The
Tempest.
Tempest, and so a lot of people were saying the same exact or saying the same exact thing as you are, is that it's kind of got an awkward feel to it. But if I remember right, doesn't Mass Effect 1, especially Mass Effect 1, but Mass Effect 2 and 3 to some extent as well, they all kind of have a weird feel to them in a way that you know you're playing a Mass Effect game. Does it come across as like that to you, or does it come across as different?
It to me, and I don't know if it's I haven't played them in a long time. It feels different.
Mhm.
Um, and I know it's not the same game. I know it's going to be a little different, but it is still the same game.
Yeah.
I'm still running with the same pistol, the same assault rifle. I'm not
Yeah.
N7, but I'm still, you still got the powers and the pull and the throw and all the stuff you had before. It's still there.
Yeah.
Obviously the things are going to work different, and but it does look very different, and I don't think it doesn't the look is not in a positive way. I don't think
Mm.
it's better. I think they took a step back, but it's still hard to pinpoint why. Maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe I was thinking this was going to look awesome, because we've seen some like gameplay, and we're like,
Mhm.
wow, mind blowing. But when I think back, what I saw, it was like, well, that was from the back. You didn't see like these. I don't remember ever seeing like a cutscene where I saw this cartoonish looking ship come landing in. Um, the gameplay and the environments, they all look good, but again, it is more of a. I feel like it's more cartoonish, cell shaded. Not cell shaded. That's not the right term, because cell shaded definitely is very different, I think, than cartoon. At least in my mind, they're kind of two different art styles, even though they still somewhat similar. But I think people will understand when they see it. I think it really
Mhm.
came through when you first see the Tempest landing, or you seeing your ship for the first time, and it was just kind of like, I just remember going, what, kind of had that head tilt and squint in the eye, like this just doesn't look right, and yeah, the facial animations and stuff are kind of weird. It's almost like it's kind of reminded me of Halo. Was it? I don't remember which Halo it was,
One.
but no, it was like 4 or 5, I think, where like the Admiral's hand was like, like extended, like his arms were like way too long, and his hand was twice the length it should have been. It's like
Yeah.
it didn't look
Yeah.
right. That's it. It's not enough to like throw you off, and I'm sure once you get into the game, it probably just gonna, like, you won't even notice it later on. But first going in, it just seemed different. It just seemed very strange, not, you know a little off. But again, it's not. It's nitpicky. It really is nitpicky. And if that's all we end up having to complain about, then this game's, a hit. Um,
Yeah.
Gameplay, I will say one thing that's right on target with all the others is, I still can't aim to save my life. And I've never been able to successfully aim in a Mass Effect game. It's always like a struggle to get the cursor on the enemy, and I completely remembered that when I was playing this week. It's like, I got no, he's not even moving. Come on, cursor, get right there, And it's just like I'm always doing this. I don't know. I'm like, you know what? I remember this from all the other Mass Effect games. It was the same way. It's just not like, I wish I could get some like smooth fluidity, like you have in other games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, or, I mean, I know this isn't a shooter per se, but I always feel like their shooting mechanics are just off. And maybe I probably will dig around in the settings and see if there might be an option to maybe change that a little bit. Maybe it'll help me, but I do remember that from all the others. It was always a bit of a struggle to get on target, so to speak. But um, so, not to sound negative, and I really don't want people to think the game looks like garbage. It doesn't look like garbage. It's just, I think people will notice a very distinct difference, and it might be a little different than what you expect. But I fully expect to really, the game is stepping up. I'm starting to do some things, starting to get some skills, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. I think there's going to be a lot more management, inventory, and stuff. When you go into the menu, it still seems like identical to what we had before. So you hit the button and it pops up the maps in the middle. You go up to save. You go left for your journal. All those things are still there. It looks just like the last Mass Effect game. Um, but when I was like kind of digging around and the skills and stuff, I feel like there's mods and I think their menu system might be a little. Either it's just because I'm new to it. Some of the stuff I'm like, okay, you had to dig down a level and it wasn't obvious that you had to click to go like it's like, oh, you'd hit mods, but then you got to select like a slot and then click A to go into the slot for it just to tell you, oh, you don't have any mods. So I think their menuing might come as later on in the game we might find that might be a hindrance a little bit. Again, I don't think it might be more nitpicky, but I just kind of felt lost. Like, okay, I'm not where what am I supposed to do? Where am I going? Oh, my biggest complaint was, and again, all I'm doing is complaining. I'm sorry, this will be my last one. Our HUD. So it's like, where do you go? So this thing has like a little compass thing across the top. So as you move, like your main goal, well, sort of like a red hexagon or something. So if you're facing it, it's dead center on the thing, right? And then if it's in front of you, like a few feet, you'll actually see it on the ground. But when you don't see that, what I find myself often is because there's the one in the compass, I keep looking up like, oh, it's above me. And it's not. It's like, go 800 yards forward and you'll find that red box on the ground that you're looking for. But I keep like looking up because of just the way that thing works. So I'm like, oh, I got to stop looking up. I got to train my mind to know that thing is not above me. That's like probably my biggest annoyance is that the HUD, the way the HUD works.
And what difficulty are you playing on?
I'm playing on not the easiest. I think it's just normal. I think there was an easy. There was like 4 difficulty levels, so I'm like on.
Do you find it challenging on the level that you're on?
Not. Well, I've died. I have died a couple times, and I'm very early into the game, so I think for me it will be a nice, good challenge. But my skills, I suck at games, so I tend to go on the easiest level just to be able to complete it. So.
Yeah, that was one of the complaints I also read about it was that the slider for the difficulty was playing it on the easiest level wasn't exactly easy, but I didn't know. So I think the hardest difficulty is insanity or something along those lines, and I usually stay away from those as best I can. So
yeah, I did feel overwhelmed. One particular battle I got into, it was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck? I mean, I was just getting every direction, like people just coming from every direction, and I actually forgot that I'm like I had this on a normal. So yeah, I would say a couple of times it felt a little overwhelming, especially being so early in the game. I hope it doesn't ramp up and get even worse, but I expect it will. But hopefully by then I will have learned. I'm still struggling. I mean, when it was happening, I'm like, wait, how do I get behind cover? How do I, when you don't go into cover, you walk up to it and you automatically go into cover. So there's things I'd walk up to expecting to go into cover, and it's like, nope, that's not something you can hide behind. So you're standing there going, hi, guys, I got this big giant rock, but I can't get cover behind it because for some reason developers don't think it's a big enough rock. I'm like, so you're trying to find something else that will allow you to go into cover. Yeah, I think I really attribute a lot of that to just me trying to learn the game, the controls. In the multiplayer at one point, I switched guns somehow and could not figure out how to switch back. I mean, I was hitting like every button, everything. I'm like, I don't even know how to get it. And I think I ended up holding B. I think was what switched the gun. I'm like, why would holding B? It should be Y. I mean, because you're just so geared to like kind of the standard buttons that a lot of developers follow, and I guess these guys want to do something different. So like I guess holding B makes you switch weapons. I don't know.
Please tell me X is reload. I have to have X as my reload.
Yes, it was.
Okay, all right, good.
So and then A. Oh, And I had a problem at one point. I couldn't figure out how to get past. But again, it was like they go through the training and they tell you, but you can use the jump pack to move forward or jump up to a higher spot. But you hit. There's two different ways to do it. So like you can hit A to like really jump up on a ledge, but I think there was another way of tapping B, but B wasn't doing it, and then so I couldn't get up. It was just kind of like going forward, and I couldn't get up the rock, and I have to hit A to get up the rock. So there was like multiple jetpack buttons, and again, it's just got to learn. It's gonna take some time to learn the controls, and I'm old and slow, so that's not a problem with the game itself. That's more me. On the and so let me. I know I've been talking about this a long time. I don't really want to dominate the call tonight or the show, but I do want to leave on some good notes. There was so I got to share this because I don't know if people are going to hear it. So I was in the Nexus and I was walking around and there was these two people there, and I just kind of walked by, and I heard all of a sudden I heard something about Girl Scout cookies, and I stopped. I was like, was that in the game? And I turned around and walked back over to the two people I just passed, and someone was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to request the Galaxy Swirls or something." And in the game, the in space in 2080 something whatever, they're talking about some guys jonesing for some Girl Scout cookies, and I'm like, this is so. I mean, it just made me laugh. I'm like, that is just. I caught a side conversation that was humorous. So we still have Girl Scout cookies in Mass Effect. Bonus. You see some character or races. So you're not obviously we're not going to see anybody from the previous games that I'm aware of because this takes place 600 plus years after Shepard. I'd imagine everyone's dead, but you never know because these people are that you're playing as you're 600 years old because you spent all that time in cryo sleep. So who knows? I'm not totally ruling it out, but you see a lot of the races that you're familiar with, some of our favorite characters in the previous games, and it made me smile. It's like as soon as I would see like a Turian, or I saw I'm trying to remember all these names, like who Grunt was.
Starts with a K, doesn't it?
Krogans. Thank you, Krogans.
Or Krennic or
Yeah, they're so the Krogan. When I saw the Krogan, I'm just like, so you remember like Grunt and the others in the game, and I'm thinking of Garrus, and I'm like, man, I would so love Garrus was one of my favorites. I'm like, man, I want Garrus in this game so bad. And then you come across some of these others like an Asari, and you just start thinking back, and it brings back memories, and I start smiling, and I'm like, I'm starting to remember some of the interactions with some of my favorite characters from the previous game, and I do look forward to playing, and they're getting to know these, and that's one of the things I'm like, man, there's so many characters to start with that it's like I want that connection. It's like so I'm kind of like, ooh, is this guy going to be someone on my team? Am I going to like him? Is he going to be someone I'm going to bond with? Because you had those people in the first series that you really liked and you worked hard. Like I remember losing one of my characters and I started over. I'm like, I'm not losing him, And so a note to everybody: make sure you use the manual save system, which is something I got to get myself back. I was like, oh yeah, I got to save before I do a mission. I better save every time before I do a mission because if I lose someone and there's a chance to keep them alive, and I want them alive, I'm going to replay that mission. But I mean, I remember that, and I don't think I've ever really played a game series where I had that kind of connection. I may not remember it fully. I'm old. I don't remember things. It was a long time ago, but you will as you start to play this game. You're gonna get those moments. You're gonna get those smiles. You're gonna have that good feeling, even though that's not Garrus you're talking to. He looks a lot like him, and it's the same race, and it does. It just kind of sparks some memories, and you're just like, yeah, Mass Effect, it's here. So, I'm looking forward to really diving into the game and seeing what it all has. And
so. Yeah, I think Mass Effect has done that for a lot of us. The the bond we form with those characters is what a lot of people, myself included, come back to Mass Effect over and over again and consider it one of the better games that we've ever played for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to diving into it on Tuesday. And I thought I had the weekend cleared for Mass Effect, and then, of course, on my calendar this morning, a meeting popped up that I'd forgotten about, and it's in smack dab in the middle of the afternoon, which is I'd rather just wake up and get it over with so I can come back and play more. But I'm gonna have to break away for a little bit this weekend. But
Is that a cough?
definitely
Is
looking
that a
forward
cough I hear?
to
You're
yeah,
looking a
right.
little pale there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call in for sure.
I don't feel so good.
The real bummer is my boss knows that Mass Effect comes out on Tuesday, so uh, trying to sneak one past him might be a little difficult.
Yeah, no one at work knows I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
Nope. I learned my lesson. Don't let them know. So,
Oh man.
all right. Oh, I guess I do need. I got one more thing I need to. I did play that I haven't mentioned yet, and maybe this game is the problem that I'm having with Mass Effect, looking so weird and not really very good. Because the next game I played, holy buckets, does it look good? You play as this female character, and everybody that I've seen so far in this game that she interacts with is like mind blowingly accurate. I mean, everything looks really good, and
Trigger.
and this game is wow. How do I say this? Not on the Xbox. um,
Is it
Mister,
on the best-selling console?
it is on the best-selling console on the market right now.
But is it on the best console?
No, of course not. So I blame Sean Fuller. You may know him as they call me Imes. He's a host of Horribly Awkward. He also used to be on Horrible Gamers. All those guys came from our community, so TXL has spawned like a crazy amount of podcasts out there. But so Sean was playing this game and just talking about how great it looked, and he was watching, he was posting videos. I'm like, man, that looks amazing, and I was like, it does seem like a game I would like, and I didn't want to get a PlayStation 4 because I'm like, I bought a PS3 just for Uncharted. So I played Uncharted 1, 2, 3. I did try Last of Us. I didn't like it. And so I only played 3 games on that console. I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy another Sony PlayStation because there's just not enough exclusives because that's all I'm going to play on there. You know, I'm an Xbox guy. I love the controller, love the platform. I want to play, you know, these cross-platform games there. But I had a few bucks in my pocket, burning a hole, had to spend it, and I'm like, what else am I going to buy? I should have bought a big external hard drive, is what I should have done. But bought a PS4 Pro, and the thing is ugly, I'll tell you that. But anyways, I'm not going to go into the PS4, but the game Horizon Zero Dawn is absolutely gorgeous. If I was asked by a friend of mine, how would I describe the game? And I'm not that far into it, and I didn't want to start the game until because Mass Effect was coming out. But again, because of the turd known as Wildlands, that's what I went to. I actually went over and started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but and then I started Mass Effect like yesterday. But um, the game, if Lara Croft and Far Cry got together and had a child, it would be Horizon Zero Dawn. This is so much Tomb Raider and Far Cry Primal um, that I really feel like I'm playing a mix of those 2 games. That's what this is to me, and that's the best way I can describe it so far. The game is unbelievably gorgeous. It's I gotta say it's probably the most impressive game I've seen yet.
Wow.
And I think that's part of the problem. I was expecting visuals on par with that out of Mass Effect, and it was not even close. So if you think Mass Effect Andromeda looks great and their characters look good, you haven't seen anything. I mean, it's not even close. Horizon Zero Dawn is absolutely stunning. Um, so, but yeah, I did play that. I'm not jumping ship. I'm not I don't hate Xbox. It's my passion. I'm still getting Scorpio at the end of the year. Um, and I've just gotten the PlayStation because I want to play Uncharted 4. This game was one. It's like, okay, now here's one I think I could play that I might like, and so far I do like it. So yeah, I've been playing those. So you might get a PlayStation game mentioned every once in a while from me, but my love is here, guys. So don't freak out on me.
I'm completely on board with you. I think that at some point later on, and hopefully maybe when the PS5 or something else comes out, I plan on picking up a PS4 on the cheap and playing some of those exclusives. Because I gotta, I'll agree with you 100%. Horizon Zero Dawn, the little bit that I've watched on Twitch, and when I watch it on Twitch, I can watch it in the 1080p version, and it just looks incredible. So more power to them. They did a great job. It looks like with that game, and me being such a adventure, action adventure fan, like Tomb Raiders hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
Um, I'll probably end up right on board with you, maybe at a later date, playing that one for sure.
yeah, and I probably should have bought the PS4 Slim because I could have got Uncharted 4 with it for like $100 less than the
Mm.
Pro. But I just felt I probably should buy the top end. I've got the 4K TV, and why not just get the better system so I can get the best possible visuals out of anything going forward? And they're going to support that one longer than Slim. Kind of like
Yeah.
that. People I know Brun's been talking about with the Scorpio. They'll support the Xbox One until they don't. Um,
Mm.
yeah, they're gonna obviously support the most recent a little bit longer than the ones before that. So I was like, I'll just pony up and get the big dog. So might as well. I bought the nice TV. I might as well. Why buy a console that doesn't even make use of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and the little bit that I've watched in that game makes me really excited for the Scorpio because, how often were we kids and you see a game come out and you go, graphics couldn't possibly get any better than this. This is it. This is real life.
yeah,
And you're playing GoldenEye on the N64 thinking, my goodness, this is it, guys. We've hit it. The glass ceiling is here. And so, having seen the Horizon Zero Dawn and how gorgeous that game looks, I'm really excited to see what possibilities the Scorpio has for us at a later date, and just being blown away by it, hopefully, giving that they do the system justice and do it right. But yeah, I got to hand it to them. That the Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, those games look incredible. And definitely, if you're just a gamer in general, you want to play games like that. So,
right. And that's the thing. I mean, we're TXL, but
yeah.
I mean, Rob, you got Nintendo systems, and I mean, I've got a Wii and
Yeah.
three Nintendo 3DSs or four of them in the house, and a Wii, and I don't know, four or five Xboxes, a PlayStation 3, now a PlayStation 4, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I play games on PC. Well, I play solitaire on PC. My PC is not a gaming rig, but if I had a gaming rig, I'd play them on there too. I mean, we're gamers. We play on our phones, our tablets. It doesn't matter. So,
No.
and when I
I,
burn on Sony, I'm just doing it just for flame, just for fun. But
well,
I
we can't
still hate their
get away with
interface.
everything. I should have mentioned in the section that I've been playing because I went to a St. Patrick's Day party on Friday and played some Wii bowling. And just so you know, I still got it.
All right,
Nice.
nice.
Uh,
I'm waiting for Rob to drop the bomb one day that he got a Switch. So
How do you know I
Rob,
didn't?
I said I'm waiting for you to say it.
Oh, okay.
I know
yeah,
it's coming.
how is Zelda, Rob?
I had to succumb to the pressure of an 8-year-old. I'm sorry.
Uh,
All right. Might as well jump in to the round table. Oh, I didn't even do my stuff. Okay. See, I'm way off here. So let me get my little logos because I missed what we've been playing. So, Patreon. You can support the show by becoming a patron by going to thisxboxlife.com/Patreon. This is you volunteering to support us each and every month by a donation of your choice. You can put $1 a month to $100,000 a month, whichever you want. The more you give us, the more Rob will love you. Uh, so that's a
Which is a
rotating.
good or bad thing.
It's always good. Rob's a good guy. If you prefer to do a, one-time donation, you can go to thisxboxlife.com/donate and you do a one-time donation, and then your name will be scrolling across the bottom as you see. Drano85 was our last donator. He was also a Patreon as well. So thank you very much. All right. So next, get into our roundtable. I just had and I'm so happy to see this, but I'm also sad to see this because not only is Mass Effect coming out this week, Sniper Elite 4's first DLC pack is also coming out this week, and I'm gonna take a break from Mass Effect to play this. I have put lots of time into Sniper Elite 4. I love the game so much. It was I absolutely love it. I've done about every achievement I could get. The few remaining, I don't think are going to happen. But so if you bought the DLC, or if you bought the season pass, or if you didn't, the new DLC is coming out this week, and this can be played single player or with a friend. It's going to be a new mini campaign called Deathstorm. It's a new storyline set after the events of Sniper Elite 4. The Alsos mission is an offshoot of the United States-led Manhattan Project, famous for its research and development of nuclear weapons. We need Carl Fairburn to intercept a critical package the Nazis are bringing into the country. In part one, I'm not going to read all about that. But, so that's how it starts out. You'll have to see the rest of it by playing it. So that comes out this week. I think they put a date in here, but I would imagine it's going to be Wednesday. They usually think like DLC stuff drops on Wednesdays. They do not have a date that I can see. It says sometime this week, so look for that. All right. And that's Rob. I'll throw it to you for the rest of these.
Okay. So this is something that might affect some of the community members out there. And that's that a lot of us, as soon as we get a new system, Xbox or whatever, Xbox One, one of the first things that you do, one of the first purchases, other than the console, is rechargeable batteries. At least that's what I've always done. And you guys done that too, I'm sure? Yes?
Oh, yeah.
No? But one of the more popular brands is PSP. They make the Energizer Xbox One 2X Smart Charger that charges the controllers, and it appears that these things might have gone the way of the Samsung Note 7, because you might get a little bit of a burn hazard. So while you're hot and heavy playing your game, your controller might actually light up in flames. So
That's a feature.
What's that?
That's a feature.
Yes.
It's better than
Hot
VR.
stuff.
It's just R.
Yes. You got the rumble pack, you got the vibration, you also got heat, you got fire. So the chargers, they say they're black plastic. They measure about 3.5 inches long, 5 inches wide, and 11 inches tall. And it says Energizer on the charger's label. So if you got it, I'm sure you know that you got it. The PDP, did I say PSP? I think I did before. PDP is the name of the company. They make them for Energizer, and then you can contact the company. You can go to online, pdp.com, and click on safety recall and get a full refund, believe it or not. So they will not just replace it. They will give you your money back. And I hope you have your receipt or something.
Yeah, how are they going to prove this? Because, like, I've got an Energizer rechargeable for my Xbox One, but it's not. It's a different one. This one where the two controllers lay flat, mine's got one where it's like stacked up, kind of above
Yeah,
it. So
I like that one.
that's the one I've got. I'm sure it's made by the same company, but it's not the one on the
Yeah,
recall. But I'm like, I couldn't prove. I could take a picture and say, look, I got it, but I can't
right.
prove I bought it 3 years ago. So I wouldn't have a receipt. So I don't know how they're going to do refunds.
I'm sure they do it through serial number, so there can only be one claim per serial number,
Probably. That's probably a good.
and
Yeah.
who knows what they'll do with that. But you know, it's cool that they're stepping up and they're actually doing a replacement. And I'm sure that the whole Samsung situation early last year or whenever that was, I'm sure that set the tone for this. So good job, guys, for doing what you do. Next up, this was kind of interesting. Forbes has been very critical of the Xbox and Microsoft for the last couple of months, okay, maybe years. And I kind of wince every time I read any of their stories. And they had an interesting one the other day, which was titled, Why Going Last Was the Wrong Move for Microsoft and Xbox Scorpio. So what they mentioned in here is that all of the consoles, for example, have been released or they're releasing prior to Xbox. As an example, PlayStation, I think they came out first, didn't they? I know they, right?
I
PS4?
didn't they come? They came out within like 2 weeks of each other in November, I think. Yeah. But I think PS4 did come out first, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks prior, earlier in November, and then what was it, 22nd or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
The Xbox, and Microsoft had that huge debacle with the reveal and all that stuff. And now Nintendo just released the Switch, the PS4 Pro coming out here. And who's going to be the last to the game? Microsoft with their Scorpio. The PS4 has continued success. It's hard to deny that. And Nintendo did pretty good, at least in their first shipment of the Switch. We'll see what happens with the rest of them. We know that they have been having some hardware issues and such, but hopefully those can be resolved, at least for them. And, is everybody going to be tied up with stuff, basically, when the Scorpio launches, and is it really going to matter? So some of the stuff that they talk about in the article, and they term it, too many ships have already sailed. It's a nice way to put it. And it's still kind of early. We don't know a whole lot about the Scorpio yet. We're probably going to learn a bunch more in the next couple of months, hopefully, definitely before E3. And all we know so far is it's going to be the most powerful console on the market to some degree, but it's not going to be so powerful that it's going to be the next generation of console, which is going to leave, the Xbox One in the dust. So what the author had said, and I'm going to read these three things here that were kind of interesting as part of this article. He takes those two considerations and he explains why he's worried about the strategy of waiting to be the last one. And the author writes, it's going to take a heck of a lot of work to pry PS4 owners away from their systems at this point. Some have already doubled down on the console with a $400 upgrade to the PS4 or to PS4 Pro. Others didn't have the system before this holiday, may have ended up with the Slim or Pro by now. Also, at this point, PS4 has already built up an incredibly strong lineup of must-play exclusives, from Bloodborne to Uncharted 4 to Nioh to Horizon. Did I say that right? Nioh to Horizon Zero Dawn, with anticipated titles like The Last of Us 2 and God of War still to come. If someone is already in the Sony mindset, it's going to be very difficult to get them out of it. The second point that the guy makes is the Switch's future is less certain, but it's clear that the system has attracted a lot of buyers during the initial launch window, and the appeal of the handheld home console combined with the appeal of Zelda will sell a lot of units for quite a while. And by the time the holiday rolls around, the system may very well have some combination of Zelda, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, and Xenogears. A heck of a lineup and possibly worth a $300 purchase, which is money that could be instead going to a Scorpio. And the last point here is I know there are diehard Microsoft Xbox fans who will show up on day one and buy the Scorpio no matter what. I do not know how sprawling that group is, however. And I think there's another less vocal. Yeah. There's one sale. And I think there's another less vocal group of Xbox players that feel let down by this generation in one form or another. At first, by Microsoft's insistence that Kinect and the resulting higher price were essential to the Xbox One experience. And now Microsoft has failed to cultivate a lineup of exclusive games to compete with Sony or Nintendo. And I have heard forlorn Xbox owners wishing that wasn't the case. I know that at least some have switched over to PS4 Slim or Pro lately, and by the time Scorpio rolls around, it may be too late to get them back. And then he goes on to talk about some of the problems with the Scorpio's pitch. Basically says it focuses on being true 4K, more so than Sony. But 4K TV adoption is still not as widespread as Sony's Microsoft wish it to be. So it's only a selling point to a limited group of people. Another thing is it's going to make a big fuss about. Okay. It's going to make a big fuss about running higher quality VR during a time when VR enthusiasm seems to be starting to wane pretty noticeably. And lastly, they may play third-party games the best because of its power edge, but without some truly fantastic first-party games, that alone is not attractive enough for most players getting the goods on PS4 or Switch. Maybe Sea of Thieves and Crackdown 3 can be those games, but Microsoft's Ultra franchises, Halo and Gears, have already new installments, have had new installments relatively recently. And those series aren't exactly what they were once either. Again, Microsoft is failing to invest in must-have original new games or retain the studios that made their old hits. And he just finishes off that basically saying that he's worried about the core appeal of the system once it arrives. So, I mean, what did you guys think about all that? Any thoughts?
Blasphemy.
I know. I
Mark,
know.
you want to go
Mark,
first?
about the 4K thing.
Go ahead, Preston.
Well, I even made a few notes as you were reading that just so I could remember what to say. But I think there's a couple of things to consider, and I understand their point of view, and that is some of the points they made are valid in the sense that yes, people have already invested quite a bit of money into the console game this generation, but in the way I view it is that the Xbox Scorpio is not necessarily meant to compete with the PS4 Pro. I think the Xbox One S and the PS4 Pro should be considered equals, and to some extent I give the Xbox One S the edge, mainly because of the 4K. Is it 4K Blu-ray? Is that what they call it? 4K Blu-ray player?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a huge advantage because those alone are a couple $100 right now.
Yeah, it's the cheapest one out there.
Yeah, by far. So I think that the Scorpio is meant to compete with no one right now. And I have to trust that to some extent Microsoft is a $1 billion company quarterly. So they know how to make the business decisions, and they know they have to have something in their back pocket. And even Phil Spencer has alluded to this year's E3 is going to be fantastic. Now, whether or not we all hype that up to infinity and beyond, and then we get disappointed because we've built it up in our heads, who knows? But I have to believe that not only are they not intending to compete with the PS4 Pro, they've already indicated this will be more powerful than anything we've ever seen in the console game, but that they have exclusives already pending. And we'll see probably, I would venture to say, if the Scorpio truly releases in quarter 4 this year, that they've already got maybe 2 to 3, exclusives that we'll be seeing previews for at E3. Look at Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a new IP, and it's just it probably sold Mark on a PS4 Pro, and I'm thinking that people will, in reverse, do that for Xbox Scorpio once they see some of these things. And the other thing I wrote down is that the 4K adoption, I understand. I'm myself am still holding out for 4K. The 1080p is working fine for me. Also, I don't have any console that would take advantage of 4K. I still have the big black box, but 1080p games were being made for 1080p resolution before it was widespread. And now, if a game is not 1080p, unless your name starts with an N and ends in Nintendo, you don't get away with it. And
True that.
so the 4K adoption thing, I just think that they have the foresight to understand that if they're going to release another console at this time, they better plan for at least in 2 years 4K is going to be is going to be the same as 1080p. So I think they're already down that road with 4K adoption. But I think that at E3 this year, they are going to have at least 2. I'm going to go on a limb and say at least 2 new IP exclusives specifically designed for the Scorpio that will hopefully blow our socks off. Now, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm not in the higher executive office. But Crackdown, right? Crackdown with 4K extra cloud computing. No, just so that being said, I think that they know what they're up against when they thought this through, and they know that they were going to have to not only, to some extent, convert the diehard Xbox people like myself and you and Mark to upgrade, but that they're going to want to bring new people over. And I think the way they're going to do that is exactly with what Nintendo just did with Zelda and what Horizon Zero Dawn has just done for the PS4. And I also think there's a lot of really core gamers out there that are going to want the most powerful system on the market, for sure. And, I don't know what the development plan for PS5 is, but, I think that the Scorpio is going to be the most powerful console on the market for at least through 2018 into 2019. And we'll see what happens after that. But those are my thoughts on that. And I could be completely off, but I think I'm up to this point. I've been happy with what Microsoft has done, so I think I'll trust them this up through June at least. We'll see what happens after that, right?
Yeah.
And, one thing that the article kind of locks into is that people are locked into one console, and that's really not the case. I mean,
Right.
There's no reason to really be locked into a specific console and not go beyond it, other than, let's say, like money or funds, or if you're a kid and your parents buy you everything and they're only going to buy you stuff for one system. There's plenty of people out there that are multi-console homes. Whether it's Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, you name it. Those are homes that will likely get a Scorpio that'll sit next to the PS4 Pro, that'll sit next to an Xbox One S or whatever, or a Switch.
Yeah.
And, but how prevalent is that?
Mm-hmm. And they definitely have to make the argument for producing this console, especially 1 year after releasing a mid-generation update. And for me, I'm more fortunate than a lot of people, to be able to afford the stuff that I have. So, but even for me, a Scorpio would be a significant financial investment. So, even though I'm planning on being a day one adopter, I probably won't be able to get my hands on one. So I'll probably be a day two adopter, if you will. But to some extent, they're going to have to convince me as to why it's the right choice, even a diehard Xbox person like myself. But I think that they're going to come through for us. I think that they've got definitely some tricks up their sleeve for this E3 with some new IPs. I'm really hoping some new IPs. If they just pull back the curtain on Halo 6, I'm going to be a little upset. Um, so I think that being said, I'm definitely I agree with forget who it was that said it, but somebody in chat said they were stoked for the E3, and well, it was us. It was you guys.
That was me.
Okay, yeah. So I'm on board with that. I think I'm really looking forward to see what they have to sell us on the Xbox Scorpio, and I think they've got some.
That brings up a good point where they probably really need to have some new IP, something to really bring in people, because apparently Halo, Gears, the usual titles that we've all been used to for years, decades, and with some of those, they don't do it anymore.
Mm-mm.
They need something new, something
Well,
cool.
and you're not gonna
visual.
see either of those titles. We
Yeah,
just got Gears of
Yeah.
War 4, and Halo 5 is what it's. This would be 2 years,
2 years.
so Halo doesn't release that often. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right.
you're not gonna get a Halo or a Gears this year.
Well, and they just canceled Scalebound, so
Yeah.
I'm interested because they've got to have a new IP. They've just got to, I love the third party support that Microsoft has always been able to conjure up, and rightfully so. They're very deserving of that third party support. But it's time as Xbox owners. Um, we're over here looking at Horizon Zero Dawn and um, what was the other
Uncharted.
IP that they released? Uncharted, and we're going, okay, where's ours, and then we hear Scalebound canceled, and we're like, oh, all right, I'll pop back in Halo 5 and we'll continue, you
Mhm.
know. So I think we're going to see at least two new IPs. Now I'm definitely not on the train of the 299 Scorpio. I think this is a premium product. I think this is going to be in the neighborhood of. I think you can sell a console at 499 if you convince people that it's worth 499 and you don't force a connect on them. Um, but
PS4 Pro is $440.
yeah,
So
so I think that if you give people a reason to buy it and tell them that and 499 is a bargain depending upon what the hardware is in that thing. There may be stuff in there that if you bought individually you'd spend $700, and if they can give it to us at 499 because of their purchasing power, um, then that's a deal, and I think people would see the value in that. But um, don't force a connect on us. Give us two new IPs to really look forward to that take full advantage of the power of the Scorpio to really showcase it. Don't give us a game that was ported over that you give a new brightening level to. And I know personally that would get me hyped for it, and I would be calling my local video game store, placing the pre-order on it for sure right after E3. So I'm excited. We'll see.
So a couple
I
comments I
can't.
wanted to make was um, you do not have to have a 4K TV to enjoy the advantages of Scorpio. It has been clearly stated now by Microsoft and Phil Spencer, particularly a couple weeks ago on Podcast Unlocked. I highly recommend everybody listen to that. He just he doesn't give any like major announcements. He's not going to do that, but there was I think there were several things that he kind of clarified because they kind of talked about miscommunication or misunderstandings on things that have been said in the past. But he did state that if you have a 1080p TV, you will see your games on Scorpio will look better in 1080p than they do on the Xbox One S on the same TV because of the power of the box. The hardware that it has is going to make those look better. So, what I believe is, translation in my own mind is instead of 900p, you're going to see 1080p gains. The Scorpio is going to give you 1080p games for 1080p TVs. They're going to look better. So now it's going to look just as good as a PS4 Pro, but it also has the capability of 4K if you have the 4K. Um, so I think that it does appeal to all Xbox gamers, and especially those that just want to stay with Xbox. And there's nothing wrong with choosing one platform and sticking with it. There's nothing wrong with having all the platforms. Um, you know, but so there is an advantage there. Also, in the whole area of VR, I think I still believe Microsoft knows this is a fad. I think they learned with Connect because I got the Connect adapter. I got it on my S. All I ever use it for is to turn my Xbox on and off, and to say take a screenshot. That's it. There's not a single game I own on the Xbox One that uses Connect that I'm aware of. They've completely abandoned it, and it's not required. No one makes games. I think there's 2 Connect games, period, on the Xbox One that were made specifically for Connect. One of them was Connect Rivals, and there was another one that just came out recently, and I was like, really, a Connect game? Are you kidding me? I don't even remember the name of it because who cares, right? I do not believe Connect will be available again. You can't get an S with a Connect.
No.
And I do believe Scorpio will not have one. I do hope they come out with another adapter, or the S's adapter will work on the Scorpio, because I want my Connect. I like using my voice to turn it off and on. Um, but it is what it is. If it's not there and not functional, okay, give me more resources for games. That's fine. But so on the VR stuff, they've been taking a back seat. I think they realize it's a fad. They haven't jumped on board with it. What they said recently, a couple of weeks ago, last week, was that they were going to bring mixed reality. So the HoloLens is like an alternate reality. It's not VR. There is the VR world out there, and they're going to somehow combine the two into a capability down the road uh, for Scorpio. So again, it's like they're not, and they're doing partnerships, and I still don't think they're going to come out with their own headset. They just did that thing with Dell and HP and like Acer, I think, for like $300 VR headsets that they're going to make for Windows PCs. I think that's where the VR is going to come in. It's going to be, if you want it, you can go get the headset from these other manufacturers to play Windows 10 games. Oh, guess what? Windows 10 games work on Xbox One. So they don't have to dive into it and fully put all this money into it like Sony's doing. They're basically not taking any risk. But when they're going to get into it, they're going to go, okay, let's do something one up, and we're going to do this mixed reality. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it won't be. I don't know. I'm not getting a Scorpio with VR. I don't really care. If they release a bundle on day one with a VR headset, I might get it, but it would depend on the cost. Right now I'm like kind of $500 is my that's where I'm expecting to spend on the console. But it sounds like VR is not going to be something that they're going to focus on, or when the Scorpio ships, there will not be a VR option for it. It's going to be in like 2018. And again, if it is completely disappeared by then, okay, they don't have to offer it. And it's other third party vendors doing it.
Do we know, is there, and forgive me for being naive to some extent here, is there a detriment for a native 4K game being downscaled to 1080p? And I can't believe I'm even having to ask that question, but would it change things like frame rates or stuttering or anything like that if a native 4K game was downscaled? Do we even know?
What do you think, Rob? Because I have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a question that will probably have to be asked after the Scorpio comes out, because I imagine that there will be if they're hyping the 4K so much, it seems like they're gonna have to put their money where their mouth is and give us a native 4K game pretty quickly after it
And
comes
that'll
out.
probably be first party, like
Yeah,
Sea of Thieves or Crackdown or something that
yeah,
Microsoft, because you're not going to get a third party developer to do it for, like you said, 4K is not massively out there yet. But I think just because it's not matte everywhere, the 4K TVs are now cheap enough. You can buy a 4K. I saw a 60-inch 4K TV at Walmart for like $800 the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, I mean, the 4K is in the affordable range for people. So, and with all these cheap TVs, it's gonna like that, boom, we're gonna switch, right? People are making the switch to 4K, and like a lot of the cable providers are now pushing it. I believe the satellite providers are starting to, or they got plans. But I know my cable provider is just did this whole thing recently. I got several phone calls, robocalls saying, we're making the switch to 4K and we're improving all our download speeds, and you've got to have certain equipment, So my TiVo receivers already set up for that, So and as they're doing that, you're putting a new box out now. You've got to be prepared. You got to be forward thinking, and I think Microsoft has done a great job of, if you don't want it, you don't need it. We've got Xbox One or Xbox One S that will fit you at a lower price. If you've got the 4K TV and you're an early adopter, you want to make use of it. I bought a PS4 Pro because I bought the fancy TV just a couple weeks ago. Why would I buy a Slim now? I mean, it could have saved me money. Now I got a free game. Instead, I had to pay extra money and still pay for a game. And I have to buy the game that I want to play that I could have got free. But why not? Why not get the one that does it? Can take advantage of the TV I have. Had I didn't have the TV, yeah, I would have bought the Slim with the Uncharted 4. But I don't fault them for thinking ahead and providing people, because that's where it's going. Everyone's going there. The content is on the way. When do you so I think to criticize Microsoft for saying, well, there's just not enough 4K TVs out there. There's gonna be. Like how much of the market needs to be out there before they do that? You can't wait, and then because Sony or Nintendo, what a joke, someone else is going to step in and do it and then take your market share. You've got to be ahead of the game, and I think they're doing it. I think they're being smart about it. And also I like the fact that this year they're going in their E3, they're going first. I hate that they go first, but at least they're going earlier, so that all the news that's going to come out is going to get out there. So you're going to have Sunday and at least all day Sunday, or at least probably about a 24-hour window where there's no news from anyone else other than Microsoft. And then you're going to get in, and it's going to be Ubisoft and EA and Activision and Sony and Nintendo, and they're all going to be crammed into so all their articles are going to get jacked up and intermixed, all the stuff going on within that 48-hour window, and then you have Microsoft that has like a whole day of just nothing but down. So I think they are smart in that they bumped that up, and they're gonna make use of it. So, and there's gonna be a Scorpio's gonna get revealed before E3. So count on it. It's gonna happen.
And by them bumping it up to Sunday, I like that too, because the energy for E3 will be at a peak. People will be, the energy people have for E3 on Sunday it starts versus the Friday that it's, we're all in the EA little conferences or whatever, is completely different. So that'll definitely benefit them, that we're all extremely excited for E3 when they go. Kind of like Bethesda did for them. They've always kind of gone first with like the night before E3 kind of thing. And everybody tunes in, whether you're a Bethesda fan or not, just because it's the start of E3 and everybody wants to be a part of that. So that'll be good for them, I think.
Yeah, and also the next Forza game will most likely be 4K.
Yeah.
And that we're going to see that at E3. We haven't heard a word about it. We know it's coming.
Yeah.
So I'll bet you that, there you go. There's probably that wouldn't surprise me to see that come out as our first 4K game for Scorpio.
And it's going to look gorgeous. You just know that those guys over there are going to make it look incredible. For sure.
And then Forza Horizon 4 next year will be the same thing, 4K.
Yeah, for sure.
But is that good enough for you, Rob? Shot down your news story?
Good enough.
Well,
as we run out of time.
I think that Forbes brought up some good points, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're extremely critical, and this is no different.
yeah.
But it's good to see that stuff. All
Do we
right.
know?
But
Oh, sorry. I was. Do we know if is Xbox One still outpacing the PlayStation 4 in North America? Because I know there for a few months they were outselling them, but I don't know if they are still. Just out of curiosity.
I know in
I don't think
February,
so.
PlayStation
Oh,
was
okay.
number one.
I'll look up what I can.
Okay.
I'll look that up. Wow. Rob goes to the next story.
All right. Next up, this is a brand new feature that's rolling out. I don't know if this is for everybody or just the insiders, but there's a new pilot feature for Xbox One and Windows 10, supposedly. First to be unveiled in the game Halo Wars 2. It's going to convert in-game voice communication to text or typed text into audio. Basically, it's primarily like an accessibility feature, but it's like I guess real-time transcription of people talking, so people can see what's going on. This is kind of interesting. I wonder if this is something from Skype, because I know Skype can do some kind of on-the-fly transcription to different languages and such. So it's interesting that they're doing this kind of feature. Are either of you guys on the Insider program?
No, I've heard too many nightmare stories about how it screws up things with their Xbox, their operating system. So I decided to stay away from it.
Yeah.
Just go with when they roll it out. You guys had a conversation not too long ago about how the coding. You guys thought the coding was just being added on to every, layer by layer, and
Yep.
they weren't cleaning it up. And I listened to that, and I thought, I think you're right because anymore, it definitely seems like the operating system has gotten more and more sluggish over the life of the Xbox One. But so I've stayed away from the preview program just because I've heard. I think Rob, weren't you a part of it for a little bit? I believe.
I've been a part since the beginning, and I'm also in the new one as well.
Okay, and are you having any problems with your operating system or anything?
No,
Oh,
no.
really?
Everything has been run pretty good.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll have to check it out because I seem to. It seems like a few. Maybe it's just from Facebook posts and whatnot, but I always seem to think people have, are always having to hard reset their Xbox or stuff because something that was in the preview program messed it up. But I'm not sure. I think it's a
Yeah.
cool service if they develop it and they get into it. I think that definitely be cool to be able to talk with people that weren't, of your native language and things like that.
Yeah, I dropped out
Oh,
of it
definitely.
myself.
Yeah.
I just got. For me, it was. Yeah, I'd run into weird issues and things would break, and I mean that's to be expected. You're in a beta, you're volunteering
Mm-hmm.
beta, and the thing is what bothered me more than that was just about every time I turned my box on, it would need an update. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I have background updates on. Why is this not updating? At night while I'm sleeping like it's supposed to. So I got tired of turning it on and having to wait 10, 15 minutes, you know, just because I want to sit down and play a game. And then when you're done, it's like, oh, well, then I felt compelled to go read about what's new. What are the little going into that app where you went and tested everything, and they're like, go do this, go do these steps, and then you get points. And I'm just like, you know what? I want to play games. So I don't want to beta test this anymore. And so I had kept my. So when I got my S, I was like, no way am I putting this in. But I kept the original one in it. I moved to the family room. But then every time my kids would turn it on, it would be like, Dad, it's doing an update again. And so I was like, I got tired of hearing them complain. So I was like, and I'm like, well, I'm never on that box anymore, so it doesn't need to be in the preview program.
Yeah.
So I unenrolled it, so the kids can just turn it on and play now. So, but then it was funny because my kids were listening. We were in the car and I played the last week's episode, and we were talking about the Game Pass. So my oldest is like, "Do you have that?" His eyes lit up. I said, "No, you wanted me to get out of the insider program so you didn't have to do updates. So no, I don't have it now, and it's your fault. He was all bummed out. I said, no, it'll be out. It's coming. I said, we'll get it here in a couple months. So, but
I did sign up for EA Access this week for the first time. I thought they finally have enough games in the vault for me to make it worth my money. And the CD Keys had a promo for I think $25 for a year. So I'll probably get to the real thing. The real reason I want to try out Mirror's Edge, and then I always wanted to play the game Unravel. Uh, but they also have Dragon Age Inquisition in there now, which I'm willing to give that a try for sure. But so I got my preview Game Pass, if you will.
yeah, I don't think we're going to see EA games in the Xbox Game Pass, but because
Yeah.
in a way it does compete with their own program. But then again, Xbox is the only place that EA Access exists. So, is it? I don't know. Maybe
Well, I
they'll-
thought, it's a good way to be able to, at least some of the games in there that I skipped over initially when they came out, I thought for $25 for a year, it'll give me a chance to check out some of those games and probably won't, there's Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 in there, which right now I'm high on Mass Effect. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go back in and play all these Mass Effect games, which, won't happen, but it's a nice thought, right?
Well, you better get them done before.
Tuesday,
Got about
right?
what? About 20.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours and 5
Yep.
minutes to get all 3 games done. That'll be tricky considering I know what Mass Effect 2 I think alone took 60 hours.
Oh, I know that game was long. What was the Mark? Not to switch subjects too abruptly, but I did have a question about the Andromeda. Is the new rover? What was that called again? The Tesla
The Mako?
or
Oh, the
Yeah,
rover, the Mako?
the Mako? Yeah, is that in Andromeda?
Yes, but
and
it's
if so, are the controls any better?
oh yeah. Yeah, I was driving the new one around. I don't know what it I don't recall them even saying a name. I'm sure they did, so it's not Mako, but there's a rover, and the thing's pretty awesome.
Okay, cool. That was one of my concerns going into it, so I'm glad to hear that it's improved quite a bit.
Yeah, it's 6-wheel drive. You can hit the left bumper. So, like, if you're going up a hill and it doesn't work, you hit the left bumper and it activates 6-wheel drive, and then you just like right up the hill. It's slow, but it does climb the hill, which is really cool. It's got boost, so you can be going, and I'll hit it and just like hit nitro. You get like a nitro boost, and the thing
Sweet.
jumps. You can leap into the air with it. It's
Cool.
pretty slick. I like it. I really liked it driving it.
Cool. Looking forward to that then.
And about the time you get that means you're pretty close to you're getting pretty close to the point
Your
where
10-hour mark.
you're 10. No, not the 10-hour, just the story lock. So,
Okay. Okay.
so because like I said, I think I was probably maybe 2.5 hours into the story when I hit that point.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But so I still have a lot of time trial left, but I can do it on multiplayer. But I'm like, nah, I tried it. It's what I knew it was. I like it, but I'll spend tonight or tomorrow playing other stuff until tomorrow night at 9:00. In 24 hours, I'll be playing Mass Effect.
10 o'clock my time, I'll be there.
I'm gonna load it up and go open that door that I'm standing in front of. So,
Oh, man.
also to answer your question, so the weekly hardware chart. This is from the 11th of February. The PS4 reigns supreme.
Okay.
So in the North America, they sold 82,000 units. Xbox One was 70,000 units. Europe,
Close.
PS4 was 101,000 units. Xbox was 29,000 units. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Japan,
Well-
PlayStation sold 27,000 units. Xbox One sold 132.
Japan's never been a very good strong suit for the Xbox.
So
That's
yeah,
for
so
sure.
globally, to add those numbers up globally, PS4 sold 255 compared to 112 Xbox.
Yeah. Well,
Again,
you know,
the Xbox is still successful, and it's outpacing. It's actually outpacing the 360, which was a huge success. So the
Yeah.
console itself is a success for Microsoft. It's just
oh yeah,
Sony for some reason is selling like gangbusters, and the weird thing is even though Sony has exclusives, like very few have come out. You
Yeah.
know, there's been, I think, The Order, Horizon, Uncharted 4, and there might be a couple others, but those are like the only ones that I'm aware of that have really come out. And this console's been out for what, 3 years? Everything
Yeah.
else is cross platform. 80% of what they showed last year isn't even due out for several more years. So it's like showing me a game that comes out in 5 years is whoop de doo. You know,
Yeah.
then I'll buy the console then when it's like $5 for the hardware. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't
Well,
get into the whole they got all the exclusive hype because yeah, it's a lot of stuff is so far away that it's irrelevant. They're just hyping it because they've got nothing else. I know a lot of people have had PlayStations and they're like, "There's nothing to play."
oh
So
yeah, no doubt. It is kind of boggling, but I just think that they found the hype train. They hit that hype train right at the right point, and Microsoft kind of shot themselves in the foot right off the bat, and they took off, and it just kind of hurt them the whole console cycle. But I think people lose sight of the fact that it is a by the numbers a very successful console, and Phil Spencer has definitely done a lot to turn the entire future projection around for the Xbox, no doubt. So, but I can only speak for myself, and I have an Xbox One, and I have loved that thing since I was a day one $800 adopter. So, you know, and Rob, I'm sure you feel the same way about your Switch.
That's right. And my Dreamcast.
In your Dreamcast.
he's a Dreamcast holdout. Yeah, he would love to see a new Dreamcast console hit the marketplace.
Dreamcast 2
Yeah, he'd be a day
Dreamcast
one
2.
adopter.
Yeah.
running WinCE 2.
Rob, you should kickstart that sucker.
Yeah.
Start a Kickstarter, man.
And by that we mean really push it down a hill, and then you have to hit the power button.
All right, Rob, we got anything left in the news?
I just want to mention Insiders just got an update. When was it? Friday, I think. It was towards the end of last week. And they changed around quite a bit. Like the home screen, the home screen's a lot different now. Like you hit the Xbox button, it takes you to like the sidebar thing, where if you want to go to the home screen, you have to hit it twice. It brings it up to what do they call it? I think the guide.
Oh, I heard
Beam
about
integrations there. There's this new thing about achievements where you can show them in the right-hand side. You can have a couple of different achievements down there. And what was really neat about the whole thing was once you upgraded, they actually put you into a screen where you could select to watch a video that kind of explained the new features and what to look for. So that was kind of nice as opposed to, okay, I see everything's different. What's going on? And you kind of have to navigate through and figure stuff out for yourself if you don't read anything online. So that was kind of neat. And I think that's all part of that new creators update, I'm guessing. That's
Yeah.
coming out for Windows 10.
Do you know, can you still, because the question came up, I remember seeing this and I was wondering the same thing. Supposedly now when you tell your Xbox to broadcast, it defaults to Beam. Is
Yeah.
there a setting to allow it to still continue to use Twitch? And is Twitch
Oh,
still
I have
an
no
option?
idea.
All right, you need to. That's
I
your homework
imagine
for this week, Rob.
I imagine the app is still there, but now when you hit the Xbox button, you know how it shows all that stuff on the left-hand side?
Right.
You know, like you get, like settings and this.
Achievements and friends list and party. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I'm starting to confuse the Xbox app on Windows with what's on actual Xbox. And the phone, because I'm in all of them, and I'm starting to not know which is which. But on the Xbox, like second or third from the bottom is now a little beam icon. So I think from the GUI natively, they have beam integration, and then Twitch is still the same old way.
Okay. So maybe we might have to say Xbox go to Twitch instead of Xbox broadcast, because they might make the broadcast command default to Beam. I don't know if hopefully they have a setting in there like you do, like they have to do in Windows. It's like you go in and which is your search engine? Is it Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatnot? So hopefully they'll say what's your broadcast option, Twitch or Beam, and you can switch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going to stick with Twitch, just because that's where our show's established. I do have a Twitch page myself, which I didn't use it all. I just don't think to record that often. I did like all of Sniper 4. I did all 8 missions. I broadcasted all those. I didn't do anything for the Turd Wildlands, Ghost Recon Turd Lands. But
Yeah,
I'm
Mark,
just frustrated that game. I think I put way too much time in it, and I was at that point where I'm like, I'm close to being done, and I wanted to get it done before Monday night, and it just wasn't happening this weekend. It just was fighting me every which way it could, and I just got so frustrated. So I don't mean to call Wildlands a turd. It's still a good game. It's just I as much time as I get into it, I've seen too many things I don't like. So. But yeah, we need to get moving on here.
Yeah.
I'm watching. I actually just realized there is a timer if you're logged in to the certain Twitch page. I can see the time that we've been running. So
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot left.
no, we don't. So did you have any further news?
Yes. There was a quick little recap, and I lost my page of it.
Wah, wah.
Hang on. 1 second here. Yeah.
This musical interlude brought to you by Rob's pondering and searching. A dead air just doesn't work for most of our listeners are audio, Rob. And saying, hold on, let's have dead air for the next 30 seconds doesn't work.
Yeah. This is where I just went crazy closing all my windows with Control W. I closed out too many. Whoops. Okay. A couple of things just to cover real quick that happened over the past week. And Microsoft is saying through Mike Ibarra on Twitter that they're going to be changing up social media support. And likely by the time that they release Scorpio, they're going to make it better to do social media on the Xbox. Don't know really what that means, whether it's sharing content or using your Xbox to view Twitter, which I don't know why you'd want to do that, because you can just do it on your phone.
Facebook.
But
I've always thought it would be cool if you could say Xbox take a screenshot and you could have a setting that it would just post to your Facebook or your Instagram or something, or a social group. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, definitely. So we'll see how that goes. And then let's see, we covered the whole business with the recall. We talked Andromeda to death, so I won't even mention that. And the Sling app is getting a makeover on Xbox One, if you're into that thing. So a huge change to the app. And that's really about it. Covered everything else.
All right. So if you want to reach out to us and leave us a voicemail, go to thisxboxlife.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see a little bar that says send voicemail. Click on that. Give it access to allow it to access your microphone so that you can leave the voicemail. We're not spying on you, but we do need to be able to listen to your microphone so that it can record it and send it to us. Be sure to leave your gamer tag and any comments or questions, and we will add it to the show. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and also on Facebook. Most of the communities on our Facebook group, it's a closed group, so your boss won't know you're talking about games during the day unless you invite your boss into the group. Then he's going to know everything. So don't do that. All those you can find us at thisxboxlife.com/Facebook/Twitter, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's move on to what's new. Actually, I take that back. Hold on.
Got an email?
Got an email. So, Rob, you need to bring up what you just said you weren't going to bring up.
All right. The X Terminator, or just the Terminator, he writes in, hey guys, long time no talk. Quick question. What are your thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda so far? I'm currently playing the 10-hour trial through EA Access. Now I've played for about 2.5 hours and I've noticed some things that are making question if I should purchase the game or not. For one, I noticed some graphical glitches in the game that should have been polished by now, specifically in the cutscenes. Not terribly bad, but not expecting that from Mass Effect. Second, the controls feel sluggish to me. The threshold from walking to jogging is kind of off. Aiming seems slow, and melee attacks are kind of wild. I
Yes.
noticed an irritating glitch when jumping up a wall using the jetpack and holding A to grab the edge, to only fall back down since my feet can't quite reach the edge. You'll see. The last thing, I feel the game is running pretty choppy, a lot of frame drops. The game looks great, but it seems that the game hasn't been fully optimized to be played on the Xbox. I hate admitting that these potential problems, since I'm a huge fan of Mass Effect 1 and 2, but this seems a little odd for me. Thanks, guys, and keep on with this great podcast. P.S. Brun doesn't like me. Whenever I would try to join his game, the first thing he would say to the party, "Hey, Terminator, this is my last game," and poof, he's gone. I'm not sure what I did to make him mad.
That's all right. We fired him anyways, specifically because he did that to you. So
Brun 2.0 won't do that.
yeah, exactly.
He won't play you like that.
No, I have 2 games left in me every time.
Yes.
I since I guess I'm the only one that played it, I think I pretty much touched on just about everything he said, with the exception of I don't I don't think the game really ran choppy. I didn't really notice any choppiness, but yeah, I mean, I think everything else he said I saw or I probably talked about. So I do. And maybe that's the thing. It feels like, just in some of the cutscenes and just some of the visuals, I'm like, I feel like it's not done. Like they didn't finish. It's just, when I saw the Tempest land, I'm like, this doesn't look right. It's like, did they forget to finish this? Was this like an early build cutscene that somehow got in here and didn't get finalized with all the nice shiny and reflective metal? I mean, it's like it doesn't look like a ship. Yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't look right. But again, I think even outside of the choppiness, I think everything really is not game breaking. The jetpacking thing can be a bit irritating. I've had issues trying to jump up to the ledges as well. But yeah, I agree with you, Terminator. I don't know if it's game breaking. I don't know if it should keep you from buying it, but if you want to hold off, if that's what you choose to do, I'll keep you updated because I will be playing and I'll be talking about it every week, and I can kind of let you know. And maybe they're going to release it. They might release a patch as well on day one to address some of these issues. So I'll be sure to keep you updated. And feel free to reach out to me on Xbox Live if you have any other questions or you'll want to know the progress. All right. So now we can get into what's coming out this week.
All right, a couple of things. This week isn't as big as some of the prior weeks, but there's still some interesting stuff here. I think there's a game called Mass Effect Alpha Omega or something like that coming out this week. I don't know.
Never heard.
Have we talked
Did
about
we
that?
talk about that? Did we talk
Yeah.
about that game?
Must be a PS4
Anyway,
game.
yeah.
When's
So Mass
Reservoir
Effect
Dogs get
Andromeda.
out?
Yes. March 21st, if you haven't been playing it already. Also on March 21st, the Troll and I. It's a strange looking game from the screenshots. Also, this week is This Is the Police, coming out on the 22nd. Then on the 23rd, Dreamfall Chapters, The Longest Journey. On the 23rd, Watch Dogs 2 Human Conditions is coming out. Also, 88 Heroes on the 24th. And lastly, Worlds of Magic Planar Conquest on the 24th. Games with Gold just switched it up on Thursday for Xbox One. We have brand new Evolve. I think that's the Ultimate Edition, if I remember right.
It is. So
Um,
if you're someone
yeah,
like me who bought Evolve back in the day, go and grab this anyways. If you that way, if you ever play it, there's a ton of like DLC and character stuff
yeah,
that you will get as part of this. So I mean, even though I don't play the game now that and it's going free to play anyways, and now that people have got this, it if you can get a group of people to play it and do it correctly, it is a fun game. It can be fun, but I know. But I would say grab all that anyways to get all the extra stuff just in case you do ever go back to the game.
okay. Then also, Layers of Fear continues for Xbox One. We're about halfway through that. That's available until the 31st. And brand new for the Xbox 360 and also backwards compatibility is Heavy Weapon. So you can grab that one as well. And then lastly, if you're trying to think of a way to support the show, one way to do that is to make all your purchases on Amazon using our affiliate link. You can go to thisxboxlife.com, click on the big Amazon logo on our front page. Do that each and every time that you make your purchases, and then a tiny little itty bitty portion of your sale goes to us to help pay for costs of the show and such. It does not cost you anything extra, but it really helps us out. Also, make sure to do that every time you make a purchase on there. And if you're on iTunes, if you're an Apple user, find us in the iTunes store and then give us a 5-star rating and a little review if you want. And then the more reviews that we get, the higher we get up in the ranks over there. So that would also really help us out a lot. And I believe that's about it. We're almost hitting our 2-hour mark, guys. And we should probably wrap this up before we get wrapped up.
Yep. And so thank you, Drano, for filling in for Brun in such short
Yeah,
notice.
absolutely, guys. Anytime, anytime.
So Brun will probably be back next week. So,
All
but
right.
yeah, Drano's on
Which
the hook.
Brun?
So
2.0?
that remains to be seen. Brun 1.0 or 2.0.
I
So.
think I think Brun 1.0 might be subbing for 2.0 before long.
Well, Brun 1.0's wife would be happy with that.
It's kind of like if you guys ever want to play your 360, you can have Brun back on.
There you
You want
go.
to keep
If you want to
The
listen to
Steam
the
games.
podcast in a submarine, you can listen to Brun 1.0.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Uh,
all right.
yeah, well, I enjoyed it, guys. It's been a blast. Thanks for having me again.
All right. Well, with that, Rob, did you have anything else either?
No, I'm good.
All right. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys again next week. I am Mark, aka Wingman 709, taking off.
I'm Rob, also known as Prestar. Thanks for listening, everybody.
And I'm Drano85, also known as Preston. Have a good night.